Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second webinar on the VIRTUA project on blockchain and airworthiness. My name is Inigo Arzuaga, and I am the technical lead for this project. I have a lot of people with me today. I have Manuel Dupuy. He's also working in the project, and we also have special guests today that they are different aviation stakeholders that they have initiated blockchain projects that they are coming alongside their partners or blockchain developers to explain their use cases today. So before anything, let's start with the meeting. So I am part of FPT Software. Manuel is part of PwC France, and we hope that we have along with us today. We have airworthiness maintenance specialists, aviation executives, regulatory and compliance officers, lessors, and aviation blockchain developers. So now first, some guidelines on the workshop. So this workshop is going to be video recorded. There will be a transcript of the workshop. This is for us to be able to go back to the workshop to do some further analysis, and also IASA is going to publish it in their webpage. The previous workshop, if you haven't seen it, it's in YouTube. If you want to, if you want to it and go to it and refer to it. Then there will be some polls on the workshop that we are going. There will be just a couple of them today. It's just to see where everyone at the workshop is standing at and what are their views on the different topics. And also we have added a question and answer section that you are going to be able to ask some questions to either to us, to the VIRTUA project team, or to the different presentations that we are going to have today on different use cases on blockchain. So don't be shy and ask all the questions that you want.
Just to check if you received the polls correctly, you should see them in your screen in a few seconds. If you can answer it, it's about which stakeholder group you are representing today as part of this workshop. You should see the poll appearing on your screen.
Yeah, it's coming. So just select the stakeholder group that you belong to and submit the answer. Okay, so we have received 63 responses so far, and we have some operators here, like 11%, MROs 17%, and then we have others. So yeah, I would be curious to know what others are. So maybe if you, I will ask you a question in the questions and answer section. So we'll say who responded, other stakeholders. Can you specify? And you will be able to see the question. So you would be able to respond to that one, and we can capture a little bit the audience that we have today with us. Okay, let's go to the next one. So a little bit the scope of the VIRTUA project we explained more in depth in the previous meeting, but just as if you were not if you didn't join to that one, you can have the scope here. So basically what we are doing is analyzing the use of blockchain technologies management of parts of aircraft parts and through their life cycle. So it is a worthiness related project. So we know that there are other use cases for blockchain, and we found them in the previous previous webinar. But what we are looking for is right now for a worthiness for parts. So some of the challenges that there are around parts, it's a parts traceability. How do you trace back to birth, or how you trace the history of a part and all the transactions and all the movements that they happened, and also the suspected unapproved parts, fraudulent certificates. We have some case that it was out recently. So how you can control these parts and what is happening in this. And what is the expectations for this project is the assessment of the benefits of using blockchain technology on today's framework, on today's regulatory framework and today's aviation framework, and also some recommendations to introduce to regulations, of changes to regulations, standards, and some working processes. You can find more information on the project either in the EASA website or also in LinkedIn. We have a LinkedIn group that is dedicated to this project. So you have the QR codes there. You can flash them in your phone right now. You can join the group if you want to, and also you can just search for it and you will find it. So for this project, we have four different partners. We have FPT Software, we have IATA also, PwC, and Skythread working with us.
Sorry. So about the project objectives, as we already presented in the last workshop, the main objective of the project is to evaluate potential benefits and constraints of blockchain-based solutions for all stakeholders in aviations. And we also have in this project the identification of changes required in regulation, in standards, and in safety management processes to lead to a better adoption of blockchain in the industry if the value is proven. And today, the current workshop has per objective to present to you blockchain-based solution and their use in the industry. So as I said today, we're going to see the previous workshop polls. There were a lot more polls in the previous one to understand better who were the participants and what were their expectations, either on blockchain, either on airworthiness challenges today, in airworthiness data management challenges. So we'll review that, and then we will review some insights from interviews, because in the project we are doing a lot of interviews of different stakeholders from the industry. We'll review these different insights. And then we'll have the presentation of stakeholders. We will tell you more about this in a few minutes. So in the project, we are currently in the phase of information gathering. We are doing these webinars and workshops to share the advancement of the project, but also we are doing a lot of interviews of stakeholders. If you are an operator, a lessor, or an OEM, we invite you to come and contact us to get in touch and to see if we might need an in-depth interview about your point of view of your challenges today in airworthiness data management and your knowledge about blockchain. So do not hesitate to contact the VIRTUA team.
So we'll go a little bit on the overview of the previous workshop and some of the results that we had on the polls, and some of the insights that we see. So the first one that we picked we think it is significant. It's when we asked for the challenges on airworthiness on parts tracking, and you can see that the answers are very, very equally kind of distributed. There is a little bit of limited traceability. It's a little bit higher than the rest of them, but they are all kind of, the challenges are in different places. Probably this This is coming for each of the stakeholder, or depending on the position that you are holding, you are going to see some challenges and some others not. And looks like we identified quite okay the different challenges, and everyone wants to solve probably the challenges that they are facing. So we have one on limited traceability, how to go back and on the history of a part. Sorry. Some data sharing limitations that sometimes it's very difficult between different companies, different stakeholders, so different people who has different interests to share the data. Also errors in the data entry, that if an error happens in the data entry, that propagates through the life of the part many times. And then around authenticity of certificates, approved versus fake parts, lack of trust amongst stakeholders, and then the manual inputting of the information, and manual inputting of the tasks, and also documentation and storage conditions. So we have very kind of a very similar distribution here. And then if we ask about, we also presented 7 different blockchain concepts, and we ask you to rate them from the most important to the least important. And what we saw that here there is a little bit more of a divide on what is important. So it is important the record keeping, the efficiency, the immutability of data, so the data doesn't get changed or tampered by anyone. A transparent audit trail that you can show what's happening to a part very easily, and cryptography and security. And then there is the other block that goes a little bit with a lower score: decentralization and distribution, collaboration and competition balance, and consensus mechanism. We are going to try during this project, we are going to try to break down if there is any stakeholder group that maybe makes these valuations very different. But yeah, right now these are the results that we got from the previous workshops. And then now Mayer will present a little bit the insights from the interviews that we have performed. We have performed around 30 interviews with different stakeholders, and he will present the main topics that we were talking on those ones.
Yeah, so these insights are from interviews, only from stakeholders that are not blockchain developers. So I will guide you through this. Here are the main key blockchain-based use cases that were identified by stakeholders up to today in the industry. First one is about parts traceability, which is a recurring theme across the responses. It's mainly about blockchain-based solution to enhance parts traceability, including back-to-burst traceability, which could lead to more efficient operation and better decision-making in various processes. The traceability of engine parts, landing gear parts, and the scraping of parts was specifically mentioned too by many stakeholders. The use of blockchain-based solution for managing and securing data was another common theme in the interviews, all about data management here. This includes setting minimum standards for how data should be held on blockchain networks, facilitating audit trails, and creating stronger links between parts, organizations, and certificates. Several responses also highlighted the role of regulatory authorities in defining policies for blockchain use, such as determining who can have access to what data. And the potential for blockchain-based registration system was also mentioned, whether for organization or individuals themselves. Most interviewees also confirmed that blockchain-based solution could be used to digitize maintenance history and facilitate physical and digital aircraft inspections. This could help prevent cases of unapproved parts and ensure the aircraft's status is up to date for several stakeholders at the same time. So these 4 main use cases are part of the VIRTUA project scope of research. And this is why the projects you are going to see later presented by blockchain developers and their customers will be mainly on this scope. But we also identified other use cases mentioned like warranty adjudication, reliability calculation on a high level, spares forecasting for supply chain and procurement, but also parts authentication solutions and carbon tracking opportunities that can be brought by blockchain-based solutions. So quite a wide landscape of use cases that have been identified during this project. And if we look at the challenges that are met by stakeholders in the implementation, if you can go on the next slide, what we see is that the industry is very, very open to change, and there is a lot of optimism that blockchain could coexist with current solutions and eventually having some processes becoming fully digital if proven effective. So what we see is that there is a lot of concerns about the cost of adopting a new system and creating interfaces. The industry is also a bit cautious about proving the value of blockchain before fully adopting it. So there is a lot more pilots and proof of concepts in blockchain than other solutions today. Second challenge is technical challenges with and interoperability topics. The complexity of IT data sharing protocols and the need for internal security improvements for external blockchain solutions implementation, and the challenge of ensuring automated configuration control management by blockchain are seen as potential barriers today. And if many blockchains are adopted, interoperability could become a challenge. This is what was said in a lot of interviews. So there is a preference for blockchain as a unique system and proposal, obviously. About regulation and governance, data regulations such as GDPR in Europe and data ownership and access right are significant concerns today for most of the stakeholders. There is a global call for more governance from regulators and a need to ensure that blockchain respect all these data regulations. And then the last blocks of challenges that we saw in the project are about mainly change management, but it's also the education and understanding. There's a global lack of understanding what is and how does blockchain works today and how it is used in blockchain-based solutions. And this is compounded by the fact that aviation is a legacy industry with old system and decision makers that can be sometimes be a blockage to adoption of new technologies. When you look at change management, the process of changing in the personal acceptance and along with the financial cost are seen as potential barriers. And when you look at different cultures and ways of working among stakeholders with what we saw during interviews, there is a huge need of managing a network of stakeholders. This is seen as a potential barrier today because each company works in different ways and putting them on the same system is kind of a big work to do. But what we see finally, and as I said, opening this slide, is that we have an industry very open to change and with a lot of optimism on blockchain-based solutions. So if you want to respond to this second poll, have you considered starting a blockchain project today? I know that we have this same poll in the original webinar that we did last year. But if you'd like to say if you have a project already initiated or maybe a budget and resources allocated, or maybe in the next years or not yet.
Yeah, for this one, we have around 50 responses. Some of them already initiated, 20%. Maybe yes, budget and resources allocated. It's 4%. It's so there isn't anyone about to jump to the pool, and maybe in 2-3 years there is a 33% of respondents, and then not yet 45%. So yeah, maybe in 2-3 years, maybe it's like it shows us a little bit that there is a plan, there is a need, but also maybe the difficult part, as Mayur mentioned before, is to demonstrate the value of blockchain into your operations. So thank you for responding, everyone. And now we are going to start with the different presentations from different use cases of blockchain. So the first one will be by Jalux, and Jalux is a MRO. They do a lot of stuff around aviation, but these use cases are on MRO in using blockchain, and they are based in Japan. Then another one from Daer. Daer is a aircraft manufacturer, and another one from KLM on bringing blockchain to the 787 fleet. So please first, I will welcome Jalux and Block Aero. So we have Todd and Daichi, so they can join and they can explain their use case. And to
Thanks
all the
a lot, Inigo.
And to all the all the use cases, just we are trying to do a presentation around 20 minutes, and then we are going to have a questions and answers section. So all the attendees, please don't be shy and ask questions in the Q&A section. If you have any question from any of the use cases or any of the other general questions, we are going to take them back at the end of all of the presentations. So thank you, Todd and Daichi, and welcome. Stage is yours.
Thank you, Inigo and everyone, and glad to have this opportunity to share with everybody what Block Aero and Jalux are doing together. That'd be great. So first of all, could you please advance the slide? Thank you. So no agenda slide. Anyways, we're going to do first the company introductions, and then we'll give a brief explanation of how it works, and then we'll finish off with the kind of project results and take any questions thereafter. So first of all, I'd like to hand over to Sakata-san, who will introduce his company, Jalux. Sakata?
Good afternoon and good evening and good morning, everyone. My name is Daichi Sakata. You can call me just Sakata-san. I have been working the aviation unit of Jalux Inc. for 50 years. I'm currently leading several digital transformation projects at Jalux, including our partnership with Block Aero. The major shareholders of our company are Japan Airlines Group, Sojitz Corporation, and Japan Airport Terminal. Japan Airlines is a controlling shareholder as of this year. I'd like to give a short introduction of our company profile. Please go to next slide. We were established as a traditional charging company in the 1960s. They mainly focused on supporting the daily operation of Japan Airlines, as well as the internationalization of Japan Airlines Group at the time. Today, we are a diversified group with approximately 1 billion in revenues, mostly derived from aviation-related business for Japanese customers out of Japan Airlines Group, specifically Japanese heavy industries and airlines out of Japan Airlines or ANA. We were growing in both sales and headcount, having surpassed the pre-COVID heights during our last fiscal year. Please go to the next slide. Our aviation business unit covers the full value chain and supports our customers with the solutions for their supply chain and asset management needs. We started to work with Block Aero for our MRO business in 2022, and we expand platform use cases to support parts procurement in 2024 this year. So in our ecosystem of customers, we are about to use Block Aero to efficiently exchange data and manage transactions, not only with the MROs, but also operators and manufacturers. Please go to the next slides. Our customers' operations are global. Our suppliers are global. And Jalux company operations are also global to support those customers wherever their aircraft, engines, or parts are located. It is important for us to manage the hands-off that happens every day between Asia, Europe, and Americans. Having a trusted partner with reliable systems that keeps collaborating teams up to date with accurate and accessible data is critical for our customer success and smooth operations. Yeah, please go to the next slide. Yeah, this is some pictures. Yeah, it shows our collaboration with Block Aero team. Yeah. And now I'd like to pass the role of speaker to the Todo-san, please.
Sakata-san. So just back one slide, please. Just to say a little bit about our company, Block Aero was founded in 2017. So we've got about 36 people in our company today. We're extremely diverse in terms of nationalities. That's also really important to us. And you probably would have seen us. We've engaged with many of the major players from ICAO. We have a strategic MOU to IATA. And even some OEMs at different levels of technology readiness. So slide, please. In terms of our company core values, I always like to focus first on safety, as we all should understand that safety and airworthiness management is one of the most critical applications for blockchain in aviation. But also efficiency is really great for making the business case. And in the end of the day, aviation is extremely collaborative, and we want to help be a part of making those collaborations go more effectively. We do this by helping lead digital transformation with blockchain. We're also global, but our main hub of operation is in Bangkok, and I'm actually in our Hong Kong office today. Slide, please. So I'm going to ask Jalux to maybe just explain a little bit in the context of Block Aero platform, because when we say Block Aero is a platform, it might help you to understand how Jalux then uses it. So anybody that uses Block Aero platform gets access to the core set of what we call digital asset management capabilities. So even any of those applications that you're about to hear about, they all in the end are supported by the concept of an asset, an aviation asset that then can be enhanced through various applications. Sakata-san, what is Jalux plan for implementation of Block Aero platform?
Sorry.
In terms of how you plan to bring on the different product line, like MRO manager and procurement manager.
Sorry, could you rephrase that, please?
Yeah, I just mean, do you have a time, like, would you like to share about the plan for introducing the use cases? I know you mentioned it earlier. I just want to help people understand that, like, one use case would be like a application on the platform that interfaces with the blockchain.
Okay. We have been using the current Excel sheet to control and manage the repair status for our main business, supporting the MRO provider, Japanese MRO provider. And we decided to substitute the platform from the conventional Excel sheet to the MRO manager developed by the Block Aero team, like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the other exciting thing that that we found that Jalux has been able to do is use it across different departments, and even more recently starting to find more use case for new application, like, for example, in the part out business or other MRO business areas.
Yeah. We started using the Block Aero platform from our repair management business, but now, this is something we will introduce later. But we are using the platform to support our parts procurement business and as well as asset management business also.
Thank you, Sakata-san. Slide, please.
Yeah.
So just a high-level understanding of how the platform works is you first create an asset, then you may attach, so that asset would be your part number, serial number, or your aircraft or your engine. All of those would be considered aviation assets. Then you attach data to those assets, maybe in the context of repair management, where you might attach repair orders, quotations, or authorized release certificates. And then you can use the workflow tools in the platform to move those assets through the stages of the transaction. And every step of the way, it builds up a profile. So we're going to show you the Jalux specific way in a moment. Can you do the slide, please? So now one more theoretical before we get into the practical. You can think of a blockchain network, right? You might be visualizing nodes on the network, which are the organizations. Each organization has access to I'm assuming most of these solutions are all private permission networks like Block Aero. And other blockchain specific components would be what we call at Block Aero data blocks, or sets of data for a specific object. So that could be a document itself with the reference data, the document number, the name. It could be an ARC with block 1, 2, 3, 4, signature, and so on. Or it could be an AD status. So these are just data concepts that get standardized and have a unique record on chain. And then the assets, of course, should be quite self-explanatory. It's the digital passport or the container for all of the assets data to be linked to that unique identifier. And then transactions are also blockchain records that will interface with both of those objects. So for Jalux, at October last year, we took a snapshot of the scale. So we're running on about 130,000 assets, 160K various forms of blocked data, and supporting 11,000, almost 12,000 transactions. Okay, slide. So basically what happens is Jalux users, the platform is basically served through web portal access. And how many users, Sakata-san, would you say Jalux is using today and maybe planning for in the future?
Yeah. Including our customers now about 70 users are using this platform. And in the future, we are planning to add more 60 or 70 users in the coming days.
So we're going to see, and when we say users, we're talking about individual people. So those are like material managers, repair managers, administrators, logistics officers, things like that. They're heavily involved in the way that Jalux today is using Block Aero platform. And actually Jalux is a kind of channel partner for us in Japan, where they are helping us to tap and build out the entire Japan ecosystem. And we have other partners. In fact, I'd like to mention Afra as one of them. Similar way to extend the reach to a consortia. Slide, please. So after the users log in, and they usually would do that on a daily basis, the ledger, as you see it, will be visualized in different ways. I think many of you are probably used to seeing rows in both apps and in Excel sheets. The way that Jalux, like what you're looking at there, is basically a screen that, well, before we get into the details of the screen, the exciting thing is, like, it's not even just humans that are updating it as users. There's also live feeds of data that come in from robotic users through things like API services. Even some IoT devices can sync into these assets. So what you see here is basically important information like, what is the scheduled delivery date? When was the order shipped? When did the customer change the requested date? Was the quotation approved or not? So getting the synchronization of this kind of information related to your orders, and then having all the related documents and data as well, is what is happening here on a daily basis for Jalux. Slide, please. And one other point that I didn't say there, but it's still applicable on this slide, is the ease of use is very important. If you look at the interface, even though underneath this is a blockchain database, and that's quite intimidating to understand, the users that interact with the blockchain need an experience that's better than what they're used to before. Otherwise, we're never going to, as blockchain enthusiasts in this workshop, be able to drive the change. We have to be better, and significantly better, I think, overall. So What you see here is each of these rows basically is a digital thread, so a kind of repair order. What types of models do you guys deal with? Like what kind of programs, Sakata-san, would you generate a lot of repair orders for? Anything you could share with us on that? I think we might have just dropped. We'll continue. So just in the interest of time, slide, please. Okay, so I want you to start looking also at the interface, and maybe some of the people on the in the audience will begin to see some of the, make some connections between like these unique identifiers. So this RSI that you see here on the screen is a kind of unique identifier, not for an asset, but for the repair order, for the MRO transaction, basically. And that MRO transaction has all the data points that you see on the screen nicely laid out within it, like the delivery date, the quantity, the expected part number, all those things get encoded into the system. And then Jalux, as they are managing their data, either pulling it in from an automated system or for one-offs doing a manual kind of update, they curate the order, and it stays updated also very well with their customers. So this RSI here is how we facilitate the way that that data also gets securely shared. So next slide, please. What you can see is here, this says participating organizations. So every node, like Jalux has its own blockchain organization ID, its customer or its vendor would have its own ID. And when they assign that slot on this blockchain record to those specific orgs who are also given access credentials to the network, what that does is it means, oh, I can actually see the quotation. I can approve the quotation, but I can't change the other parameter, the approved quotation once it's been approved, for example. I have to do a new one. So things like that are business logic, which blockchain gets to enforce, I think, very securely and elegantly. And it creates a very nice sharing and collaboration environment for these users. Slide, please. So the other thing is all of these parts that Jalux manages the repair orders through are also having those digital threads feed records into the assets, which we haven't seen yet, right? So we saw the digital thread, we saw how they put different kinds of data blocks, the assets. So if you go to the next slide, that are a part of this transaction, they also all have their own digital passport on chain. So data that's flowing through these different transactions is going to be attached with immutability to what you see here is BAA for blockchain aviation asset ID on chain. And you can have basically, slide please, all of these other records controlled at the owner, operator, manager level. So just like with the repair manager and the vendor and the customer roles, for an asset, we have quite a lot of roles that are very specific to aviation. And for example, these records that you see here will each be classified as unclassified commercial data, airworthiness data. And so airworthiness data must be accessible to the all the owners and the operators, so it gets replicated as a rule to those players. But something like a commercial data or a quotation or even something that's undefined does not follow those rules and becomes private by default. That's one of the advantages of implementing with what Block Aero used, Hyperledger Fabric, because it allows these types of permissioning to be, I think, more efficiently executed compared to some of the other technologies. Slide, please. And like also the hash values for all of these objects, another method of having interoperability and being able to externally validate the authenticity of files from the secure on-chain records. Slide, please. Okay, I already introduced stakeholders. Slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Sakata-san in a second, but before I do, what I'd like to explain here is, do you want to explain this slide, Sakata-san, or shall I?
Yeah, well, if possible, please.
Yeah, all right, I'll start off and then I think we'll let you pick it up on the next one. So basically, what is important to understand is that this is not a POC, this is not a pilot project. We are using we're supporting a large volume of business in the aviation industry with an in production blockchain-based platform today. We're very much expanding the business with Jalux, as you can see here. This is actually a very successful story. I mean, I've talked with a lot of other players and they're 6 months, 12 months later, still trying to bring systems online or using 2 systems at once, which is a nightmare for your users. And Jalux, as you can see here, was able to get started pretty quickly in a matter of months, I would say, to really being fully online with only this system operating, supporting well over hundreds of millions dollars scale business. And the users, it's an important system. You can see they spend about 30 minutes every day, just to give you an idea of some of the data we pull for those sessions. So yeah, slide please. I think now's a good time to hand over to Sakata-san. I think we got a few more minutes, like maybe 1 or 2 more minutes to share why you selected Block Aero, and then we'll move on to the final slide that you have as well.
Yeah. The first reason we selected Block Aero is alignment of our company mission, vision, and values. Block Aero is on a mission to accelerate the digital transformation of our industry, providing solutions based on blockchain. Block Aero values safety, efficiency, and collaboration, which are shared values that are also important to Jalux and Jalux customers. The second reason we selected Block Aero is data integrity. Jalux is required to secure data traceability for our customers, and we believe the blockchain is the most reliable technology to make it happen with transparency and efficiency. The third reason we decided to select and continue with the Block Aero is the increasing business value that we can offer and receive the near and the mid-term. We are a company with the products and services that touch and supports these aviation assets from birth to end of life. It could be 20 or more years. Although a specific user at the Jalux may use Block Aero to coordinate logistics between hubs, while other users do quotation approvals with customers and vendors, reconcile invoices, or archive maintenance release certificates of repeat orders. The benefit of doing this on a blockchain and with the Block Aero platform is that all these efforts steadily build up a portfolio of reusable digital assets with each accurate parts in the transaction record we manage on Block Aero. These blockchain-powered records are interoperable, shared digital assets that can be created and collaborated on at any point at the life cycle. We need the flexibility and the solution, and we appreciate the focus of local team on the near-term delivering the practical value to ecosystem operations and long-term growing value through the visionary innovation. We have already productionized the MRO manager of Block Aero for a repair management business line, as today we introduced. The building on success, we are continuing to invest, co-innovate, and deploy a new module called the Procurement Manager for our supply chain management business line, as I explained. And this will see the scale of our assets and transactions grow exponentially in the coming years. And we are confident Block Aero is the best technology partner to support us with its aviation blockchain platform. Yeah, next slide, please. The final points I'd like to share about selection of Block Aero, more specific to underlying blockchain technology of Block Aero platform. We can summarize them as follows. First, the integrity of our record-keeping system. We know the legacy databases are highly vulnerable to failure and manipulation. Not only is it a safety issue, but the economic cost of losing a record or finding out that it's falsified can be extremely high. We believe blockchain systems are more redundant and reduce this risk. Second, we have achieved a higher level of standardization since implementing Block Aero. The quality of our data has improved, and the communication with the customers is fully backed up and more efficient than before. And this is one of the main benefits for us, lowering the cost for us to manage assets and administrate their transactions. We estimate to have reduced the man hours in API management administration by up to 50%, as we have tracked over 10,000 transactions using Block Aero. The benefits are substantial to us. Third, the systemization of rules and the policies on the blockchain network is consistent with the needs of the aviation industry to make certain data accessible to aviation product owners, operators, and service providers. A blockchain system provides automation of data sharing and exchange according to the predicted rules. Blockchain is the necessary evolution for our industry to promote the adoption of the much needed back to birth trace and the airworthiness data standards. Block Aero also paid attention to integrate messaging protocols such as ATA into the platform, which made us more comfortable with their vision for interoperability of the solution. They can play nice with the other ERP, which our company use, and the MRO systems. Yeah. Maybe this is the last of the presentation. Yeah, thank you very much. This is the end of the presentation. Thank you for your attentions.
Thanks a lot, Sagat and Todd. It's been very good. So we have a couple of questions. First question that I'm getting here, we have actually three. It's from Nico. What is the design relation between asset and real world physical item? So what is the current relation? It's a one-to-one relationship, or it's also one to many to many? And if the serialized parts,
that's a good question.
A lot control parts. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. It was one of the first major design considerations that we debated a lot in the early stage of platform design. Obviously, we focused first thinking about serialized parts, but C&E, consumables and expendables, that's actually where I started my career in aviation. But it's also something that we will support with the new rollout of procurement manager for Jalux, because they're going to start to buy a lot of C&E on the platform as well. However, to answer your question on the connection between the real world, I believe what you may be asking is, what does the logic do in terms of uniqueness? And as of now, every part number, serial number, manufacturer combination must be unique to the network. It does not allow for duplicative assets to be created and maintained on the network. If you're talking about how quickly can we tie the real world to the asset that is digitally represented on the Block Aero, the best way to do that is with IoT. So we have IoT. We've actually ran a prototype, we basically did a kind of POC prototype with a local company also in Bangkok called TASA. And there is a use case for connecting IoT sensors like that transmit temperature data, position, humidity, and logging that data on chain so that you have a record for if let's say your temperature sensitive material spoiled, or you're shipping an engine and it was shocked very hard. Those kind of things are, I think, how you can connect real world to a blockchain record and have it add value.
Thanks. We have another question from Hannah, and maybe another follow-up from Nico that it could be maybe completed in the same part. So Hannah is asking, if units are sold on, will the new owner be required to use the same platform? And could this lead to suppliers being required to have access to multiple sharing platforms? And another one from Nico that could be maybe put in the same kind of question. What happens if a blockchain operator goes out of business? So it's like, okay, when a change happens into that part ownership, or whether someone goes out of business, like in this case, a blockchain operator or an airline, what happens here?
That's great. I was just with a very important lawyer on the phone yesterday talking about exactly that question. And of course, even Jalux, as a large corporation, we've had meetings doing risk management planning with the customer. And just like any company, I believe, could lose its database. I think they're more likely to lose their database than we are. But we have plans for how to export the entire data sets to our customers, especially the ones that need a high level of service level agreement. We can provide even customized support for that type of requirement. We're also experimenting, not experimenting, we have that requirement that you said about what happens when the next person on the chain needs to use this, can they pick it up? So for us, we're actually looking at that with the next implement. We have a very big project coming up with AFRA, which throughout the year, I think you guys will all hear much more about that for disassembly. But basically, the way we will probably address that is by creating a kind of snapshot that can be transferred and then basically like an export, and it could be handed off. There would be I think a disincentive to not continue maintaining the on-chain profile, or maybe it could be picked up again years later. It's still early enough that this hasn't come up so often yet. But it's something that I think even in these forums, I'd love to hear ideas about what people have, because the incentivization, the business model, all this is extremely relevant to that question.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sakata and Todd. Thanks for your answers. Also, you have a further question from Luis Santos in the Q&A section. Maybe you can reply by typing, and that will be great. So let's move on to our next presentation.
Okay. And feel free to just send a LinkedIn or email me a question. I'd be happy to answer as well. I don't see the question in here actually though, but I'll take a look. All right.
Okay. I will. It's in the Q&A section on the top. If you can see it. It's published there. Should be published by Luis. No?
Yeah, I'll screenshot it, send it to me.
All right.
It's okay.
Do it. I'll do it. So yeah, the next presentation comes from Daer, and I'm from Goods ID. From Daer side, we have Gabriel and Sebastian here, and we have Cody from Goods ID. And yeah, they as from a OEM perspective, they are going to share their experience with blockchain and the value that it brought to them.
Yes, thank you for giving us the opportunity to show you and share with you what we've done with Goods ID. First, you must. I will just sum up a little bit about Daer and what we. Who we are, because sometimes people know us by an activity or another. So we have 4 divisions within Daer. We are an aircraft manufacturer, we are a parts manufacturer, logistics and service provider. We've been, it's not the first project using blockchain. The one we are going to share with you today. We started working on blockchain solution in 2018, especially in the logistics and supply chain, let's say, problematics and topics in terms of traceability. As a matter of fact, we are operating a node on the Tilcal network, for those who know the Tilcal, in traceability on raw materials and parts import in France for customs issues. So we are using and we are operating blockchain now on a day-to-day basis at Daer, but more in a B2B and supply chain aspect. What's interesting for us is to work as well on the product life cycle. So in the introduction, you explained all the benefits of blockchain in terms of traceability, visibility, security. We have a wonderful presentation of Block Aero and Jalux on that topic. So we know the importance of these different aspects and how blockchain is a wonderful technology to achieve that in the B2B and in the traceability of parts. And that's something that I'm not going to talk about today. So we tried at Daer, because it's nice and important sometimes to speak about the failure as well, because since 2018 we have done several projects Unlike, for instance, Merck's with the ThreadLens project that died a few years ago, we have tested solutions that did not survive 2020. We've tried to replace and to add too many layers sometimes on business processes in terms of traceability of parts, in maintenance, in supply, forgetting about the fact that legacy tools exist in maintenance. People are using data which is siloed, as you all know, and sometimes you cannot just replace all that. You have to think of another way to bring values to the people working on this data and for our customers. So with all that in mind, we were like, okay, what can blockchain bring in terms of value that is not today feasible and possible with current technology, or not with the same, let's say, credibility or interest? And to imagine and to think about all that and design a solution, we looked not in the aerospace industry, because sometimes innovation is elsewhere. And we've met Goods ID, who was working with, for those who know Paris, with people of the Place Vendôme in the luxury goods industry, and they had a solution already, kind of a passport certificate for rings and watches. They had a solution; it was ready, just not, let's say, adapted to our use case and to the aerospace industry itself. What I loved about that, it was, yes, they already had a solution, so we don't have to go from scratch or start with a POC and an MVP, etc. The product was ready. They were working on a public blockchain, IOTA. For instance, with Steelcar, we are more in the consortium blockchain, like Jalux in a way. And we wanted here for the B2C application to bring something different and decentralized to our customers, something public. And blockchain in all their let's say values they want to bring is just a technology that is behind, in the back of a wonderful solution. So you say, yes, okay, let's go, let's work with them. But of course, as you know, when you start a project like that, you discover that, yes, okay, a ring and a watch it's not an aircraft. There are some differences, key ones. The processes are not the same. The people, let's say, being able to modify and to bring data to the certificate, the passport, and you will all understand with Sébastien, who's going to explain all that on a business view, because me, I'm on the open innovation side of the. So we had to adapt. So we did a lot of workshops in the factory with the customer support, with the people working at the MROs, to see, okay, what can we bring in terms of value, which is new to what we deliver today? What can we bring in terms of interface, of new interface to our customers to allow them to interact with the product in a different way? How can we, in the secondary market, reach new customers and integrate them in the Daher family, even if we don't know them, because they did not buy their plane at Daher? All these different questions, it was needs, ideas that we did work with Goods ID to make them real. So I will give you, Sébastien, the mic now, and you will, of course, bring all your vision on the topic and what we have achieved with Goods ID together.
Thank you, Gabriel. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, in here, when we started working with Goods ID on this solution, we wanted to find an application on our TBM platform. For those who doesn't know Daher, as an aircraft manufacturer, we are manufacturing the TBM product and the Kodiak. TBM is manufactured here in south of France, Kodiak in northwestern USA in Idaho. So could you please jump to the next slide? Thank you. So we decided that to try this solution on the maintenance traceability. We in short term, when we started working and talking with the Goods ID, we found that it was probably the best. It was a really good application that could help our customer to track the maintenance records of each individual aircraft. We have a camo experience. We have people here working as camo, and we work with them, and they insisted on the importance to keep maintenance records in a safe place, which is a regulatory obligation. So we found that this solution could be like a response to this concern. Also, we believe that our customer would appreciate a user-friendly record track, which would be easy to read, easy to share, not like those professional software that we do have now, which are really made for professionals and not really adapted to the aircraft owner who's like not an expert. He needs something simple and smart to use. Also, for us, it's a good opportunity to implement this blockchain technology into some new customer services in a B2C configuration. If we speak marketing, I don't think we are so numerous to jump on those solutions. And also, it's not just about doing blockchain, but really to bring benefits to our customer. So maybe you can jump to the next slide. Yes. So Goods ID and Daher, we have worked together for about 2 years now to develop this solution that we have called the aircraft certificate. With this solution, we want to track the history of the aircraft from the delivery to the whole life cycle of the aircraft. So we want to record all the scheduled maintenance, recording also all the airworthiness reviews, pre-buy inspection when the aircraft is sold from an owner to another one. Recording also those ownership transfers, registration changes, and so on and so on. The idea is to give to any owner of this product, even the third one that would buy this aircraft after 15, 20 years of age, a complete record and a reliable record of what was done on this aircraft. Here there is a little life cycle that shows all the different steps that may be achieved on an aircraft. Each of these we call them some events. It's like in our own life, we have events in our life. And maybe please go to the next slide. The idea is like any of this event is supported by a document. A document that is tampered and recorded in the blockchain to make sure that the information is accurate and could not be changed over time. So we we want to have like at any time of the life cycle, like status of the airworthiness and the records, which is like certified. Could you move to the next, please? So here is what this solution looks like. It looks like a sort of passport. You can see the aircraft with the little picture with his key characteristics. Technically speaking, the engine that is installed, the technical specification. And also on the left, you can see there are some documents attached. So it's a user-friendly interface that keeps like something simple to manage for the owner of the aircraft. So here the expected benefits we see in this solution is, of course, as we said, the traceability of the maintenance record of the product that would be connected to maintenance facilities. That's like an extra step we would like to reach, but managed independently. As Jalux showed us previously, you have a very good solution that is allowing you to track those maintenance actions. And it's really, we chose the relation between the MRO, the operator. Here we were more in we wanted to stick to the product, like have a sort of passport linked to the product itself that would follow this product over time. And we did not specifically address those connections in the between the MRO and like as you did. We are in another type of application. So we wanted to have a solution that is related to the product itself, as I said. Why? To give like some transparency across the successive owners, to bring some kind of resale facilitation by shortening the process. Why? Because we are in general aviation. It's not like we have like private people who are buying an aircraft. It's like a private transaction. There is some inspections that may be done by CAMO, by some professionals, but it's based, this process is based on trust between people. There are some official documents, of course, but this kind of solution is putting together all the official documents that make them easy to share and kind of accelerate the process when it comes to change the ownership. Also, we believe that it would bring some increase in the residual value of the product, because over time, an aircraft that is 15 years old, where you are 100% sure of what was done and you have no doubts, you may pay a bit more, rather than on an aircraft where you are a bit unsure of some maintenance that have been done or to which extent. So it would bring more confidence and more knowledge to the people who are buying. So right now, this is where we are with this solution. We created these forms. So as Gabriel mentioned, we started from this solution who already existed. We changed it to our needs, but of course, as we said in the beginning, it's more like something like a short term. Right now we are testing a beta test version with some customer to see. To share with them the solution, have their feedback about the benefits they may find in this solution before launching that officially. Could you move to the next slide? I may have Oh yeah, I missed that. Okay, this is showing you the different events who are captured with the every time with the event you have this document which is recorded to support the event. So maybe you could go the next slide again. Okay, so I talk about the benefits already. Also, we on the long term, we feel that this solution could bring us more added values. Earlier in the earlier presentation, you mentioned digital passports. This is also something we are working on. We may use this solution as a future digital passport for our fleet. What we have in mind is like recording like aircraft key characteristics. So here we're talking about like aircraft data that will be recorded. Characteristic to drive some kind of maintenance, like we would like to secure, for example, some critical triggers for predictive maintenance with some sort of no erase function to make sure that when we go and implement this predictive maintenance, we have reliable triggers that cannot be corrupted by any mean. Also have some kind of records of the aircraft records in terms of flights. How should I say that? Like
flight logs.
Sorry.
Flight logs.
Yeah, for example, flight logs. When it comes to lifetime extensions, we could use some data who are recorded on this kind of passport to support some lifetime extension. For example, also monitoring aircraft operation and propose some sort of eco solution when it comes to improve the environmental impact of the aircraft. So right now we have started a story, and we see also some next steps that will probably be, I would say, the blockchain technology here will help us probably for those new challenges with this predictive maintenance and new type of maintenance and operations. I would like to leave to let Cody saying a word about also future opportunities which are addressed by Goods ID, and I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Sebastien, and thank you, Mayul and Inigo, for organizing the webinar. And thank you, Gabrielle and Sebastian, for such a clear and concise explanation of our venture together. I see we don't have much time, so I will be quick. And just to follow up on what Gabrielle had said, yeah, we were excited to be approached by Daher to embark on this journey together with them and follow their aircraft throughout their life cycles, rest in contact with future owners, help Daher propose services throughout the life cycle, such as warranty extensions or putting in touch with preferred insurance networks, and ensure confidence in the Daher TBM or Kodiak aircraft over a large period, so 10, 15, 20 years of its lifetime, and to eventually shorten the sale process when the pilot owner would like to sell the aircraft. There would be a high level, quick and easy shareable certificate that would have both previous pre-buy inspections if it's an older aircraft and it's been sold once or twice before, as well as be able to put in pre-buy inspections directly into the certificate if it is a new aircraft, and just quickly show that to prospective buyers. We could also envisage the certificate being used by other KMOs, OEMs, private aircraft owners, and aircraft registries such as EASA, the Isle of Man, Bermuda, we believe that they could benefit from instant airworthiness or near instant verification, sort of, let's say on a high level of the fleet, just to keep a general overview of what's going on with the many aircraft that are registered and flying both privately and commercially. And for OEMs, manufacturers, we believe that it would help add value and generate recurring revenue throughout the aircraft life cycle, such as upgrades to the avionics perhaps, or warranty upgrades, and eventually perhaps even integrating a sort of aircraft resale marketplace or leasing marketplace. Thank you everyone for your time, and I believe we're at the 20-minute mark. If anyone has any questions.
Yeah, we have received just one question from Nico again. So his question is, I assume you currently use the blockchain as alternative means of keeping aircraft records. How can a user be assured that the information in the DAER system is complete? And then another follow-up, making the requirement of paper-based data review recorded in a traditional system like obsolete. So how do you assure that the information that you have is a complete information of the aircraft?
I can give you an answer to that. First, there is as we say, there is already data, and there are already tools being used for maintenance, like comp system, like everything that's been done before. To say traceability is already done and is already good. Just today, indeed, it's a lot of paper. The fact that we don't want to implement all the data in the solution is because we don't want people to work twice and to work on the existing system and processes and on the blockchain process. That's why we are just giving an overview of and access to where the data is in documents or in a comp system and other solutions we have. So today the blockchain is used and we are creating passports because the solution is ready. Just to be clear, we are working with early adopters and beta testers to warrant the value size of the project. But I don't know if I answered the question, Nico, but there is no the requirement of paper-based data is still today. We want to, and I think that this type of meeting and webinar is to change the system in a way, because we all know that to send, because it's no joke, tons of papers from stations to stations, and sometimes people are just traveling between stations for the maintenance. So you have this tons of paper in each maintenance station, and you need to search stuff. It's just impossible and not feasible in terms of time and traceability. So we are trying to work in parallel, but still using the old system.
If I may add something right now, so that's why I spoke about short-term solution. The short-term solution was like we take the paper, the PDF document that was issued by the MRO, and we push it in the solution for now. Next step would be to connect directly to the MRO ERP. This way, of course, we get like no paper in a no paper solution, but we're not there yet.
And just to complete what Cody said as a conclusion, it's we tried, and I think we succeed in designing a solution that is OEM agnostic. We did not work with Goods ID to design the solution for DAER. We worked with Goods ID to design the solution for all the general aviation and maybe more. So it's a Goods ID solution. We at DAER were just in the specification and giving a customer insights to Goods ID. to make them design a solution that we would love to be using as an OEM, as an aircraft manufacturer, as maintenance company. So if there are some OEM in the webinar, do not hesitate to contact Goods ID, because you can use the solution for yourself. You will gain 2 years, because we spent 2 years on that. So you can contact Cody, and you can contact Goods ID, and make this solution yours. So yeah, let's just move all the industry forward.
Okay, thanks, Gabriel. I think we have a question. I will try to make him talk, if that's okay. Mario, I will. Hi, Mario. How are you? Can you hear us? I think you should be able to unmute yourself. There was a raised hand, but maybe we don't have it.
Yeah, there's a question from Pablo.
Yeah, we have some questions internally in the Q&A section. So if you see the questions, Gabriel, maybe feel free to answer just there one by one, or if any of the other attendees to the webinar wants to answer the question, yeah, you can answer the questions one by one. So we have one from Pablo, and I think we had also another one from Martin. So yeah, you can feel free to answer the questions. If they don't get answered, we are going to answer it.
Okay, maybe I can answer to Pablo.
Yeah. Okay.
We haven't been in this subject right now. We really focus on how to track the maintenance records, which means like every event in the service life of an aircraft. Your question about the raw material sustainability and how are there is it something to be reused or recycled? This is something we do when we, I'm working on the entry into service on new products. So this is something we do. We characterize our bill of material to identify what is recyclable, what is not recyclable, with which field of recycling, and so on, by making categories and so on. But we didn't go into this type of solution for this.
Okay, thanks, Sebastian. So let's move on with our third presentation for the day. And thanks a lot to Daher and Goods ID for your presentation. Oh, it's been very, very insightful. And I would ask a last question. So when you talk to aircraft owners, what is the reception of the system that you might be accessing their data, and you might be seeing what kind of maintenance they are doing?
Sorry, that was okay. Question for me. Right now, we have seen a few ones. Overall, they like it. They feel it's easy. They like the facility. It's an easy handling solution, and for them, they like it. It's like it brings new technologies, easy to use. They feel like they are a bit more independent. They don't need to call their camo every time they have a question, so they like it. Now the question is how much it costs, and yeah, we are there, but the reception right now is good.
Okay.
And you just and you have to know that it's all GDPR compliant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a product certificate. It's not linked to the customer relationship management system. So the name of the client is not appearing on the certificate. It's all encrypted, and Goods ID is managing the blockchain on the IOTA network, public network. It's not Dia. Dia, we are a contributor of the solution, and we are giving some data. We are not consuming data in a way. So it's the data is for the current owner of the aircraft.
Okay, Thank you. So let's move
Woody,
on to the last presentation. So we have Paolo Monti here from KLM and Jörg Gaschke from Skythread. Please, stage is yours. So let's follow up with your presentation on the blockchain and 787s.
Yeah, warm welcome also from my end. As Inigo said, I'm Jörg Gaschke, part of the Skythread leadership team in charge of business development in Europe. And before I hand over to Paolo, I would like to make a few comments. The whole VIRTUA project is about how to improve parts traceability. Now, when we think about parts or more complex assets like engine, landing gears, or even the full aircraft, all that will go through the hands of many stakeholders along life. And as already stated, the information created during such an event of somebody is having his hands on a part, either being during the birth or removal, install or repair, you name it, it will create information. Information sitting somewhere. Now, to provide and establish the digital thread at the end, which will allow to feed into many use cases, it needs the ecosystem. It needs all, if possible, all users touching that part over life to allow to have that information captured at their system of record. So the origin of the information, which their ERP, their MIS, whatever, to be captured and to go onto the blockchain to establish that digital thread for that part. And that will help to feed into analytics, will help to feed into avoiding fake parts or help to improve efficiency. And I think that's that critical element that the ecosystem needs to come together on such a platform to a great extent, I think is a very important point here. Now, Skythread Solutions presents such a data sharing network to get the ecosystem to come together and share that information and still stay in control of their own information. Now, before diving too much into detail, I think I'd like Paolo now to share what KLM's perspective is on the topic of blockchain and how to deploy blockchain and the partnership with us and the way forward in deploying Skythread for parts at KLM. And with that, Paolo, you as a project lead have the best insight. Please go ahead and share your pitch.
Thank you very much, Jörg, and good afternoon, everybody. And thanks, EASA and Inigo for organizing and having us today. Well, my name is Paolo Monti. I work at KLM Engineering and Maintenance, part of Air France Industries KLM Engineering and Maintenance, where I'm the project lead for the implementation of blockchain technology within our component services product. And which blockchain solution we are implementing is Skythread for parts. And today I'd like to, well, walk you through our journey with blockchain that started a long time ago. Even before meeting Skythread, we actually had our endeavors, and then following what led us to choose Skythread to go together with us into this journey, and where we see the benefits and why we actually chose this solution and how we want and what our ambitions are with this solution. So if I can get to the next slide, I probably already talked through the agenda, but we will basically, after a small, very short, I promise, corporate introduction, we'll actually start from the data and from the problems and the challenges that we have and that we see as a triple player in the industry, because we are actually at the same time an airline, an MRO provider, and as a repair station, and the component services, engine services provider for third parties. So we play three roles. So we see, I would say, all the possible angles, almost all the possible angles and problems and challenges in the ecosystem. Why blockchain? Why we think blockchain is a solution for many of these problems. Then I'll go through our partnership with Skythread and what our ambitions are and the value we see in it. So if we move on to the next one. Thank you very much. So, well, Air France Industries KLM Engineering and Maintenance, we are the second largest MRO provider.
Yeah, thank you very much. Second largest MRO provider in the world. As of 2023 December, we have approximately 30,000 full-time employees divided over the main hubs in Paris and Amsterdam and our other locations around the world. We have approximately 3.8 billion revenues. These are data from 2022. 23 results haven't been published yet. But most important, we are the center of several communities. And it's very important for us, the word community, because, well, as you know, the component services business is a pool-based business for us. We have more than 200 external customers divided over the different, and the lights went off. Amazing. Over the different aircraft types that we serve, and we support more than 3,000 planes around this amongst this pool. Let's move on to the next one, and let's deep dive into the more interesting part. So, well, data in aviation. I think I don't surprise anyone if I say that exchanging data in aviation today is still almost the same as that was 50 years ago. We have different formats, different standards. That documents exchange by paper, PDF, Excels, Spec 2000, all kind and all forms. Well, as I said, we play three roles in this industry. So we see all of them, and partially we're also at fault for all of them. But this leads to several problems or issues, inefficiencies, spread ecosystem, industry-wide inefficiencies. There is a lot of manual inputs. This industry relies on people inputting data at any interface and exchange. Sometimes parts of information are missing. If a part is traveling without information, that can lead to actual reducing the availability of the fleet. That's a fancy name for aircraft on ground, and we don't like them. Overstock. To compensate for these inefficiencies, providers of components needs to overstock, and same airlines have to do. And last but not the least, there is a risk for fake parts and for counterfeit documentation that travels with parts. All of this together, I think we can summarize, are the challenges that we face as an industry, we see as an industry player, and as a center of a community of industry players. And we can summarize that in the problems of history that is limited, the visibility through this event, and the trust between the player. We trust each other, yes, but not really. So there is always these three problems, and these three key problems led us to our ambition. So if I can get the next one, please. We as KLM, E&M, and as group, at France KLM, E&M, we had an aspiration long time ago. As I said, this is an aspiration that goes back all the way to 2015, almost 10 years ago. It was to create one global, single and shared register, not only for the components and the events that we manage, but for all events and all the configuration statuses of aircraft components through their life cycle, from birth to scrap, through all the journey between the different players. And we identified blockchain technology as the key for ensuring that this register is A, possible, B, viable, and C, secure and successful. Because of course we need trust, and we need the technology to enable the success for this register. So what we did, well, we are pioneers at E&M. So next slide, please. In 2018, we started our proof of concept together with an operator of our 77 pool that I cannot disclose, but we run our proof of concept. We developed ourselves, our solution, our platform based on blockchain. And again, we see here the typical flow that a component has in our industry. It's then generated by the OEM to the left. We have component information, birth certificate and birth record. The component then flows, is installed on an aircraft, on a KL aircraft in this case, flies, accumulates hours, cycles. It then gets removed, goes back to us. We service it, Air France Industries KLM. We service it, we generate certificates, service reports. We then send this very same part to another operator of our pool that operates the components, flies it for X many hours, generating usage data. And again, this component fails, gets removed, goes to a repair station that may or may not be in our pool. And after a while, the component may come back to us, to our pool, to our plane. What we see here is a physical part going through different players and different parties within the industry, and each part generating data that needs to be linked back to the component in an univoc, safe, and traceable way. How we do it with founding block, we do it with blockchain, and that's the solution that's why we went for a blockchain solution to solve these challenges. If I can get the next one, please. However, well, you may say, why KLM, why didn't you implement this solution right away in 2018 after your proof of concept? Well, we've proven that the technology was viable and valuable. However, we found three main issues. And the first one is that the efforts needs to be common and shared at an ecosystem and a community level in order to be successful. All these, the process flow I described in the slide before, is a process flow between parties. If only two parties in the community are on board, that's not going to work. You need a community effort to onboard on this aspiration of creating this register. There was again the problem of trust, because that was a solution developed in-house by an industry player that's at the same time always a competitor of the same people we are in business with and the same companies we're in business with. So there was a need for an independent and neutral service provider. And last but not the least, what about rules? Of course, rules for data sharing, rules for who can see which data, when there was a need for a joint rulemaking, and again, an ecosystem effort, a community effort into making the rules. So a consortium government was needed. And these three findings we took with us at the end of our proof of concept. And well, then we met our partner, Skythread. So if I can get the next one, please, before we go into our partnership, please, Jörg, would you like to give a short corporate introduction of Skythread?
Yeah, happy to do so. Hope everybody can hear me again. Yeah. Skythread was founded about 3 years ago, a little more than 3 years ago, right in the time of the pandemic. And let's say it was founded by a team of senior people from different types of stakeholders in the industry. So we have everything from airline executives to airframe executives to tier one management to consulting and IT in our team. And I think combined totally, that adds up several hundred years of experience in the industry, which is an important point, let's say, to choose the right directions and build a platform which is, let's say, focused on the needs of the industry. I would say that helps us a lot in here. And Skythread is fully distributed. So our headquarters are in Irvine, California. We have a subsidiary in Europe. We have development in Asia Pacific, and the team distributed around the globe. So a virtual organization working together in a very efficient manner during the pandemic, and even as the work with KLM started pretty virtual in the beginning before we met for the first time. And still we made good progress on that. And so by now we have our first product, which is Skythread for Parts, launched last year and rolled out as a product. And as I said before, it's about, and what also Paolo mentioned, it's about the neutral platform. It's about having an open platform, because at the end, it's a chain of chains we're talking about multiple ecosystems we envision to be established around the globe to be covered. And yeah, we are in the process, and Paolo will cover that in a minute, of loading or starting the data load to the platform. And with the independent data consortium for aviation, we have our governance board, which is not our consortium. We have a share, we are part of that, but it's an independent consortium composed of many stakeholder types and representatives from many companies, and at this point in time led by somebody from Parker, for example. And that's our sounding board. That's our way to get the right level of guidance to tune our work and our solution to make it a good fit with what the requirements of the industry are. And as I said before, parts are just the starting point. So later on, it will be the next level of having the offering for more complex assets like engines or landing gears, and at the end covering the full aircraft. And with that, allow to have snapshots and all relevant non-commercial information. I think I missed that piece before. So we're talking not about performance, not about commercial stuff, but just about the core information around a given asset being traced and tracked along its life. I would say, Paolo, back to you. I think I can jump in later at the end if needed for additional comments.
Yeah, thank you, George. York, sorry.
I'm good, don't worry.
But yes, so we found in Skythread for Parts the solution for our 787 pool product to begin with. We decided to, it was April at MRO Atlanta last year when we finally signed the partnership with Skythread, and we decided to move on being the launch customer for Skythread for Parts, joined by Parker Aerospace a couple of months later. So we're not alone anymore, and we're growing a community, and we aim to grow a community again around our 787 pool product. We've been busy implementing testing, and as of these days, we will start loading events on the chain from KLM E&M and from KLM as an operator, and together with Parker Aerospace as an original equipment manufacturer. And the total amount of events that this first load will be is around 1 million. And we talk, again, part birds, certificates, installs and removals. So our cycles, tails, and service reports, because as mentioned, we are also a service report station. But what we see here on the slide is how does Skythread for Parts look? This is a snapshot on, how do you say? It's a snapshot of our KLM interface. Of course, we have a demo part because we cannot share, say, real data on this presentation. But what you see here is that to the right you have the chain of events that happened to a part. When was it removed? When was then received at the pool provider? When was sent at the repair station? What was made? So the service report, and in this case we also have a flag for a modification and the service bulletin applied, and then the ship back to the MRO, to the pool provider, pardon, and then to the left side the user can access and can see the details underneath each event. Also will be we didn't take the screenshot, but the documentation will be available as PDF and downloadable. So we have two sides. On one hand, we digitize basically the view. The view will be a single view. Users will be able to get a unified single view and a single thread of all the events happen to a part. And as well, we'll have access to the documentation related to that part. If we move to the next one, we can actually see which kind of events we are talking talking about, because I think that's very, very interesting, because once again, this makes me go back to the ecosystem and community. On the top line, the gray arrow, that's the part cycle. The standard part cycle, you have a part that's born, part birth, then it's installed, in service, then gets unserviceable, and enters a secondary cycle that it's only industry-based, and the OEM won't see the part anymore until it gets back for a repair. We as pool provider, we see the part as long as it's within our pool. We as an airline, we only see the part only when it's installed on our aircraft. The idea behind is that by creating this register, each stakeholder, each community player downloads and connecting their ERP systems to the digital thread in Skythread for part, and will then be able to capture all the records and all the changes in status and the events happening over the part. And this will deliver, well, this will deliver value for all the ecosystem. So if I can get to the next one. Yep, thank you very much. This will deliver value not only for a single player, but we see, if we look at the stakeholders, and what we tried here to do is to map all the stakeholders from an airline to a tier 1 to an operator, to an OEM. Everyone will get benefit out of it. Reduction in lead time in managing these interfaces. That's interfaces in this industry are painful, manual, require time. Quarantines are a disruptor of our flow, and time equal to cost reduction, then in managing these disruptions and adapting to those. And lastly, but not the least, and I left this for last, is that we aim to build the full history and complete authentication for everything happening to parts that may end up on our planes. And we want to know what's on our planes, and we want to get the full history and to have it certified, and to be sure that what we install on our plane is is good to fly, is airworthy. This actually brings me to the last slide. That, if I can get it, great. So, in simple, in a nutshell, why we believe in Skythread for parts for ourselves as Air France Industries, KLM, E&M, but for our pool operations and for our industry as a whole. Well, at first, we believe such a solution is an enabler towards data exchange made digital. We're still in a world where we exchange data. Yeah, okay, don't tell me emails are digital, please. We do exchange data in forms that are not, that require manual and human input and processing. And that's a major disruptor, a major inefficiency in this industry. That leads to many risks. Documentation problems, late releases, the access to the full history and information when we need to return an aircraft to a lessor, or vice versa, when a lessor needs to receive an aircraft. The performance assessment of parts, it can only be achieved when greater information is available for everyone. As component services providers, being able to guarantee the authenticity of parts entering our pool is a major advantage. We can easily get the repair history such that we can also easily assess whether a part is prone to fail, and therefore maybe it's easier. We can get data to make better decisions for us and our customers. And lastly, for OEMs are, and tier 1s in the flow I showed, they are at the very left. They see the part at the beginning at birth. They don't see the part until it comes back for a repair. And once again, they can then get access to this visibility and get the information they're missing in order to perform their work better. And ultimately, if we remove inefficiencies in the industry, we think we can all benefit from it. And I think I've reached the 20 minutes limit. And thank you for your attention.
Let me make a few additional comments on that, Paolo. I think it's would be worth just doing a few more on that. At the beginning, you mentioned trust as an important element. And I think for such a platform, what establishes trust? I think it's important that the one providing information, and I talked before about the system of record as a source system for the information to be captured. When it's loaded to the chain, then the party providing that information is still in control of that information. So even if we, by doing a triangulation to, for example, avoid any kind of faulty input, and we recognize a new flight hour number is lower than the last one recorded for that part, we can raise a flag, but we don't touch the information to change it. It will go back to the one originating the information to resolve it. Now, to better, besides the triangulation between existing information on the chain, what can also help to improve data quality is linking to other systems, to other sources, recording flight hour information as another point of validation in here. When it comes to the part, then the question is, if there is a serial number on the part, it's nice to have the serial number on, and we are discussing in the beginning primarily serialized parts, because it needs to be identifiable to link the digital thread to the part. But then the next thing is, what about somebody falsifying a serial number? And the next level of authentication might be to look at biometrics and have let's say, new methods to identify a part just by its biometrics. And with that also help to avoid false parts with let's say, wrong serial numbers on it. As one example of future additions we see to the platform on Skythread for parts. And then we have the last thing, which is all the paper world we have so far, and here digitizing that and also bringing AI into play. And there are solutions and folks available working on that part. So us as a platform working with others to add capabilities to make this even more robust and foster even more trust in what's available information as a key element for acceptance. Because at the end, the amount of information for a part and the proof that that information is correct information and can be trusted is the number one key to make it to drive broad acceptance in the ecosystem, combined with the, and yes, Paolo mentioned it, value which is in for every type of stakeholder in that solution. It will vary depending on the responsibilities a shareholder or a stakeholder has, but at the end there is value for everybody. And combining the trust thing and the value to everybody at the end will help to drive a broad deployment across such an ecosystem. Thank you.
Thanks, Jörg. We have a couple of questions here. First one is coming from Martin. So it's asking, can I ask, how are you getting around parts manufacturers that are not loading into the blockchain? I can assume this case KLM and Skythread will load the data. And do you foresee that there will be an issue with trust given the original manufacturer has not added the data in the first place?
Now, let me put it in a simple way. There are trusted sources for certain types of event. And for sure, the original manufacturer is the one which is the most trusted source for a birth record. And let's say if an original manufacturer would not decide not to jump on, we would not start, let's say we can hold information in parallel to the digital thread, just for, let's say, for information, but not as the trusted event information in there. Yeah, that's feasible technically, but at the end, we want as much as possible to have all the OEMs, or at least the major ones, jumping on. And we're, as we said before, we work with Parker. We also have projects ongoing with Safran. We have projects ongoing with Airbus and working with Airbus on that. And there are many more I can't mention yet. We're in discussion what to get to start such a project. And the more jumping on, the better the level of completeness is, especially when it comes to the berth record here, or for the repair shops when there is a repair event, to have those, let's say, linked to the chain. So if we don't have access to information at that time, the missing part will be represented as a gap event, because we know there was a berth, and we might have some information when it might happen, but we don't have the core information, so the block created by the OEM at that time. But the more complete, for sure, the chain is, the better, let's say, the better the individual looking at that information is off. The minimum it needs is, let's say, from the last repair to today, combined at best with the berth record coming from the tier 1, for example, for a part. But any shade of gray in between is even better.
Okay. So I have another question here. Maybe it's more for Paolo. And what you talked about the community and the different players that they are in the industry. So the question is from Matt and says, what a purely components repair station, an MRO, can benefit from blockchain without business in selling and buying parts and other transactions, just receiving the part, repairing it, and sending back to doing service.
For example, I think that would be a use case for our repair stations that we of course use as center of a pool. Well, we do have a lot of data exchange with these stations, of course, and the main benefit that we see would be for both of us in digitizing these transactions. And the exchanges would then be quicker, more efficient, and amongst the different stations and the customers, in this case, ourselves as MROs, or other players in the community, other airlines that as well are on the platform. So what we see is that for players that are not per se buying or selling components, but just acting on the component, still there is a lot of paperwork and the information exchange related to the part, and that can be then made more efficient and brought digital, and that's the benefit we see.
Okay, thank you. So you can jump in also in the Q&A section if you want to answer any of the questions on your own. Thanks a lot for your presentation, and this ends all the presentations that we have for today, and I hope you find value in it. So as a closure, we are going to talk about the next steps of the project and what we are going to do. Oh, we have some question from Cody. Wait, I think you can unmute yourself.
My apologies, no question.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
All right, good.
You are muted.
But then you are muted, Inigo.
Always needs to be one in all the meetings. Okay. So yeah, let's move on onto the next steps of the project and what you should expect from the VIRTUA project. And thanks a lot to Jörg and Paolo for your presentation. And it's been I think they've been very interesting three presentations, and I hope you got the value from this. So
yeah, and any other questions, if there are any, just reach out and we'll have an individual talk on that.
So before we jump into the closure, I would ask to all the attendees that are still online, that are around 100, if you got you need to do thumbs up and thumbs down. You got value from today's from today's workshop. So this is an anonymous answer. We are not going to get any names here, just to know for us a general feedback and a general feeling of the attendees, if this has been a good one or hasn't been a good and valuable workshop for you. Thank you. But yeah, let's Mayol, let's talk about the next steps of the project now.
Yes, so today we are finalizing the information gathering stage. If you like to collaborate, and I said earlier in the webinar, if you are an operator, lessor, or an OEM, we invite you to get in touch with us and see what we can do. About the future steps of the project, we plan to have a project closing and dissemination event that will take place this summer or in September. And we will be presenting also training material on blockchain-based solutions, the technology, the use cases, and their use in the industry. So we invite you to follow the course of the project, and you'll be able to scan on the next slide a QR code that's a link to the LinkedIn group where all professionals from the industry has joined the movement of this project to receive documentation, insights on the project. I invite you to scan it and to join.
So yeah, that's all from us. So you have all the information here. Please feel free to contact us if you think that you were not listened to, or you want to add more value to the project. We'll be very happy to have you on board and to move into the next steps. Also, a big thank you to all the presentations that we had today, because I think they were very, very, very interesting. I got a lot of value from them, at least myself, and I hope the same happened to you all. So yeah, thank you, and see you next time.